Call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Sure. Callie Blount. Wanda Brown. Evelyn Fox.
Here.
Heidi. Jason Mitchell.
Here.
Tim Norquist.
Here.
Michael Palmer. To be present, we do not have a quorum.
Can we still adopt the agenda? Okay. Can't do anything, so we can't approve the minutes, but we can get communications going from the director. The director's report.
Not being recorded, I'll go up here. I feel like I should, everybody's back there and I'm going all the way up here.
Good afternoon, everyone. The City Commission reappointed member Devonda Brown to the GCRA. She unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, but she got reappointed, and another candidate that was being considered for the GCRA Advisory Board, Ms. Sarah Erickson, she got appointed to the RTS Advisory Board, so she won't be, she withdrew from consideration from the GCRA Board. And so notwithstanding Ms. Brown's reappointment to the board, there still remains 4 vacancies. So I think what has happened here is a member may serve 2 consecutive 2-year terms. And then if nobody applies for it afterwards, then you can reapply. Like if your term expires and nobody applies for the seat, then you can reapply and be reappointed.
Is there a certain time lapse that we're waiting for people to apply before we can reapply?
I have, if I may, Mr. Chair, I have that question posed to the clerk's office. My interpretation, and not that it's a valid one per se, is that the way the new ordinance reads is that a member may serve 2 consecutive 2-year terms. Now, in our case, the question was because some of these terms were kind of off, right? 1 year in some of you and 2 years in some of others, and others. That's what raised these questions and confusion. So I'm having that question addressed.
I'm not sure when my term expires.
I believe you expire in 23 in October. I left my book at
I'm
my
in 23 right now.
in October.
So I can reapply.
You should be able to. I will confirm, however.
Okay.
None of us really wants to know when we expire.
Yeah, I don't know when it expires.
I think I'm coming off as well. I think this is my 2nd term.
I will confirm all this, and you may be correct, because I think it was in November of 21 that your term of member Fox, the same thing may apply to you. So your 2 consecutive terms would expire in October 3rd of this year. Even with member Brown, who was just reappointed, there's 2 different things, because the email that I received from the clerk's office said 2024, but when I look in eScribe, it says 2025, which would make sense. It's a 2-year term, right? So I'm also yet to confirm that. I'm, waiting confirmation from the clerk's office. So I'll give everyone.
My situation was, basically I had a partial term and then I've had a 2-year term. So that is that 2 consecutive terms or not is the question.
And therein lies the confusion. Because you actually came in to complete someone else's term, if I recall.
I think I had 2 meetings.
There you go.
Yeah, 2 or 3 meetings. So it was less than a year.
And I've seen it interpreted both ways. I'm on a national committee where I'm limited to 2 terms. But the first year of the term I was on was fulfilling somebody else's. So they said that I was eligible for 2 full terms.
Right.
So this is all going to come down to how
How it's interpreted.
how the clerk's office interprets it for the GCRA, but I've seen it interpreted both ways.
Okay.
That's everything I have. We do have a new GCRA director who will be starting May 15th.
Dude.
Who's that, Sarah?
Was Sarah.
This person is the assistant CRA director with the city of St. Pete. The city manager went through, as you guys probably know, an extensive interview process and settled on him. His name is Rick Smith. So he should be here at the next meeting, right? That'll be after.
Yes.
Rick Smith.
Yes.
The day after, May 16th.
Yeah, so he'll start and the next day we'll bring him to a meeting. He actually previously worked for the city of Gainesville. Many years ago, he worked in what is today this Department of Sustainable Development. Back then it was Planning and Community Development as a planner, but he spent 20 plus years now with the St. Pete GCR. I want to say GCR because it's us. 20 years with the St. Pete CRA.
Well, good. Sounds like a experienced hire.
Yes. It was a very tough choice, I can tell you that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mann.
That's all I have to report. She didn't speak.
So as far as there's nothing related to the consent agenda, obviously, request to address the board. That's business discussion. Item 1, 2023-271, inclusionary zoning. We can have the discussion on this right over.
I think that's from.
Oh, sorry. Oh, goodness. Thank you for
By one.
reading off the old.
The minute.
You, when you put me in charge of this thing, you're in charge. All right, so we got business discussion as item 2023-351 Heartwood update. That sounds like this month.
Yeah.
Title. Thank you, Nick. Good evening, everyone. Trisha Lopez, GCRA staff, and it has been a few months since we've brought you a Heartwood update. And that's what I'm here to do tonight. So this area was taken March 1st by my colleague Daniel Blumberg, who goes about once a month and flies the drone around. And there's actually an updated one on the GCRA website now that was taken earlier this month. But as you can see, construction is coming along. There are a number of houses that are under construction and that are occupied. You can see 2 building pads that now are framed houses, and one more house has started construction since this started, or since this photo was taken. So for the 11 Dreams to Reality homes, 8 are now owner occupied. The 9th one is closing May 2nd. That date shifted a little bit since this presentation was put together. Sadly, we did lose one of our buyers. One of our buyers passed away unexpectedly. So we have been working with legal and with housing on how to move forward on that home. Her family has released the contract. So we are going back to the wait list. We had 6 people on the wait list that had not been contacted. And of those, we know that 3 have already purchased homes since the applications were received in 2021. So we do have 3 potential applicants that could take on that contract.
How would that be determined amongst the 3?
In the order that they were randomized by the city auditor's office.
For all the, we have buyers for all the homes that's gonna be built. I know one time there was a long waiting list for people to buy. Is that still
For the dreams to reality or the market rate?
the market rate and the dreams to reality?
So the 11 dreams to reality homes are spoken for at this time. 8 of them are, or 9 are owner occupied or are about to be.
Right.
And then there are the two final ones. We're hoping to get an applicant that's on the wait list for the one, and the other, we've hit some construction delays, so we'll know more probably in a month or two.
So you think we're gonna do good with the sales of all the homes, including the ones that's not dream to reality?
Yeah, that's what we're working towards.
I mean,
So-
one time there was a long wait. I mean, a lot of,
Well, there was a mailing list. So there was a list of people who had said they were interested, and they put their names on an email list. And that email list has over 1,000 people on it.
oh, okay.
So these were just interested, people who are interested buyers. And we do still have that list, and we're going to email that list shortly. And I'll get to that in a second. But so of the overall homes, we have 11 lots are sold. That includes the dreams to reality that were sold with the house on them. And then it includes 3 of the market rate lots. So the way that those sales are going, the buyer closes on the property and then the house is constructed. So we've had 11 lots change hands from the city to the home buyer. We have another market rate lot closing tomorrow. So that'll be the 4th market rate lot, and construction will start on that probably in 3 weeks. It's in permitting right now, and they're getting ready to go.
I know that we were implementing a kind of like a third way for people to buy homes by starting construction early and not taking away kind of like the new construction options. Were those in the mix of the 4 you just mentioned?
Nope.
Okay, so those are totally new construction.
Those are under the, no, they're not on here. So those are lots 31 and 33. Yeah, they're yellow. They're reserved right now because they're under construction. Those 2 homes will be finishing around July.
Okay,
June or July.
those are the ones we're starting with. We're kind of like going ahead.
Yep. So buyers will be able to come in and get a traditional mortgage rather than a construction to perm loan. So that's the way that should make it easier for some buyers to get in.
Okay, awesome.
So. Okay, so the 4 homes pending contract, I think I already talked about those. Those are the, that includes the dreams to reality ones that are pending contract and the showcase. And then we have the city funded showcase homes. And the plan for those is when we get closer to the end of construction, we'll know what the final costs are, because we're using a cost plus contract with the builders. When we're about like 95% done, we'll have a good idea of how much the home costs to build, and then we'll base the list price on that, like as it starts. So we're at very minimum breaking even. Those homes, we will set a date at least a few weeks in advance, so we can email that list of 1,000 people. That also includes some folks who had executed purchase and sales agreements on lots before, and for some reason they didn't follow through, or they fell through. So, people who are very interested, or, to the point of wanting to buy, but ultimately couldn't, they'll have the opportunity to bid on those homes.
And how many homes was that?
Just 2 for now.
Those 2 lots that you showed me.
And then as soon as those 2 complete, we'll start construction on 2 more. We will start the procurement process early before the home sell. So we're ready to just turn and get them into permitting, get the 2 new ones into permitting as soon as the other 2 sell. So for the construction status, I think I just covered that in the last slide. Oh, sorry. So we have 5 homes under construction. So that includes the 2 city funded. and 3 that are funded by buyers. So of the 3 that are funded by buyers, 2 are expected to complete next month. So they will be moving in next month. And then the 3rd one is finishing in June. July, sorry. Okay. So our next steps, so far in April, we had 1 closing last week. We have another closing tomorrow. We have our first annual Heartwood HOA meeting on Monday, the 24th, and that's at the model home. And all of the homeowners and home buyers have been invited. In May, we are looking forward to 1 Dreams to Reality closing, and the first 2 showcase homes completing construction. Those are the 2 that already have buyers. We'll be working to confirm eligibility for the next Dreams to Reality applicant for the 1 lot. And we'll prepare to list the 2 city-funded showcase homes for sale. Then looking forward to June, we'll have the 2 city-funded showcase homes completing, hopefully selling like hotcakes. And in July, the 3rd showcase home will complete construction. That's the one, the 3rd that already has a buyer. And that is the update tonight.
I have a question, Chris.
Yes, of course.
You all have a homeowners association. And are there guidelines and rules that they have to adhere to? Because a few weeks ago on Sunday, I passed by, I was so upset. Somebody was burning trash in a barrel
At Heartwood?
at Heartwood.
Which?
I'm not gonna tell you that. I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
I-
I said, oh my God, this is awesome.
that wasn't-
There was a big barrel and a big thing of fire coming out of it. So I'm hoping that you all could address that because it's gonna prevent other potential buyers who's gonna buy at market rate.
Mhm.
If they see those, and I wasn't even looking for it. It just happened to pass by. So I hope that would be no burning trash in the.
Yeah, we have what we plan on touching on some of the some of the HOA rules. I guess the ones that like people aren't used to. So we can definitely bring that up.
Yeah, if a person buys their home, it's theirs and it's their property. And they feel they can do anything they want to do with it.
Mhm.
So, but once you have your meeting, perhaps you all could lay out some things. And certainly, we don't want nobody burning no doggone trash in the barrel. That people passing by potential buyer. Thank you. I just wanted to bring, and in fact, I intended to call David to let him know that Monday because I was really concerned about it. Okay, thank you.
Appreciate you letting us know.
Yeah, I had a question. I was wondering, as far as on the ones that you're building, of the city's building, and then going to sell at market rate, how are the buyers? Are they just getting a conventional mortgage on their own then? It's not through the city?
Nope.
Right.
Nope. And those, because they're market rate, they can use any lender
Yeah.
they want. So
Just as a comment, what I've heard, I went to a conference recently, and what I've heard about new homes is that what the developers are doing, the home builders, is they're actually getting buyers to come in because they're able to offer a reduced mortgage rate as they're buying down the mortgage rate because they are actually, providing the financing for the homes that are being sold. So, that puts, that puts these houses kind of a little bit at a competitive disadvantage as a result of that. Because they are able to, provide a lower interest rate on those new homes that are being built. So it's just something to keep in mind. Again, I don't know how you overcome it. I don't think you can. But I thought that was interesting that, basically that new homes, the big developers that are going in doing these tract homes, they're offering to buy that mortgage down instead of attracting buyers.
it's a good thought.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that will affect it.
Corey,
Can you remind us when the homeowner association meeting is?
it's April 24th at 5:30 p.m.
Will you send us an email? So those of us who might want to come could sit down and look. Listen, right?
How big are the homes that are being built there square footage wise?
The smallest is 13 and change, heat and AC. And the larger ones are over 2,000,
How large are they?
over 2,000, I believe. Hold on, let me have, I have a. That's way off, I'm glad I checked that. The largest is 1525 for the Dreams to Reality. The showcase homes are a little larger than that. I don't have those numbers in front of me.
Yeah, the reason I asked that is that was one of the questions that I had asked of this economist that was at this conference is, she was talking about different buyers and what they're looking for. And she was talking, about the millennials. And she said that, they really want everything in the house. But I asked her whether or not, there's any interest of them looking for a smaller house that's more affordable. So in other words, is size important for them? And she said that basically that there's been a trend where as long as they can get a house that is in a good location and has good amenities overall, that they're willing to take a smaller footprint. So, and I know, Ms. Fox, I think that you had mentioned this last time when there was a discussion related to the city building houses was, why don't we go back to some of these smaller footprints that we used to do historically, because that obviously reduces the construction costs if you can bring down the square footage. And then if you can include the amenities that people are looking for in the interior, still, but reducing the footprint, you could actually save some money. So just
That's true,
something to think about.
when Miss Bowie was here, Deborah, she talked about the place in North Carolina, was it? Alabama that had the tiny community, tiny houses or something. Is that illegal in Gainesville? Tiny house.
I believe tiny homes are allowed. That would be a question planning, I think.
If we could really put a lot of people in homes, if we could go to that concept and build a community of tiny houses. There's one on 10th they consider a tiny house, I think, in University Avenue. I'm the only one that lives over there that knows. Mr. Harris, you know where that house is? There's a lawyer office. And then right behind it is a tiny house, or maybe.
I'm not where you are.
Huh?
I say I'm not sure.
Okay, it's on 9th, Southeast 9th, and University Avenue. But can we explore that? Mr. Chair?
It's certainly something maybe that could be applied to another project.
Not this one now,
Yeah.
this guy.
Yep, and there are opportunities coming forward where that could be considered probably.
They look like their houses, but to me, they look like 1 or 2 bedroom mobile homes.
Yeah.
But they are prettier.
It's like not far from that car wash.
Yes.
Waffle House
Mhm.
on University.
Yes.
I don't recall seeing one. They must have put it there recently, or is it?
No, it's been there a year or 2 because they did an article in the Gainesville Sun about it.
So it's recent.
It's been a year or so.
I can look again.
Can you all explore that for us and see where we are and see where the city, I know we have policies and procedures in place where it may be prevented in the city of Gainesville, I'm not sure.
I feel like planning has been trying to add more density, and tiny homes would be one way to go. So that does seem like it's in line with the city, but I am not a planner, so I can't really speak for the.
You can actually buy those tiny houses.
Mhm.
What did we decide to do with the power district? We talked about that last month. What was the decision on the power district? That's right.
Yep, I'm going to defer to Phil for that one.
So the current decision on the power, the current direction the city has on the power district is to, well, moving it forward for potential sale of the property. But we're not necessarily looking at planning it out like we had in the past.
You want to sell the property?
Yes, ma'am. It's GRE's property. It's not the city's, well, it is.
Well, it is. We own GRE. It's the city's property. Hmm.
Yeah, the city's had a couple of meetings regarding the power district. The direction we've got is moving forward to get appraisals of the property. And then the commission wants to, as either part of the sale or part of the zoning change, to have some underlying zoning that gets more towards what the community wants, instead of just allowing anything to go in there. But the other issue that ran into, that happened with the original developer the GCRA had, is most developers we talked to, it's just too much. Trying to do it as one large development. So what they're hoping to do is get more of a unified development by developing the individual parcels.
Okay. Thank you. One question.
Thank you very much. That's the only item we have, right? The public comment? Yes.
Just real quick, it's not on the agenda, but community partnership grants continuing to take applications. The next deadline for the next consideration window is June 1st. So if anybody knows of any community partners that should be applying, please reach out to us so that we can have an application put in before that deadline. And that would be for the October 1st through March 31st timeframe.
This is for
The community partnership plan program.
And what is the maximum dollar amount?
So it's $5,000 for the first ranked
First one, right.
entity,
Right.
and then the other $5,000 is split between the other remaining that were also complete applications. So I don't know if you saw, but I had a little clip from the Hippodrome. They had their 50th anniversary that weekend, so they were one of the recipients.
I remember, yeah.
What were those October dates you got?
October 1st through March 31st is the project period. Or that's the 6-month window that the June 1st application deadline is for.
October 1st to March.
Through March 31st.
That's to apply for next year.
Let's apply for, well, from October 1st this year through March 31st of 2024.
That's just when the project has to occur.
That's when the project has to occur. Because right now, what you approved last time is going through September 30th. So we're in a current window right now. Project you've already approved runs through September 30th for this window. The next window starts off October 1st, but the deadline for that application is June 1st.
So they're kind of keeping with the fiscal year.
Yes.
Thank you for that information. Yes. So we don't have any, Mr. Chair, we don't have any update on the paint project. I know Chelsea said last month that she was gonna open it up to some other neighborhoods. So if you all would bring a report next week on where it is, where we are next month, on where we are with that project.
I'll take that as a board member comment. That's what we're doing.
Oh, okay, well, that's my comment.
Or, well, you can have others.
No.
That's it.
City Commission agenda? Yes. Tomorrow? They are going to City Commission
Thursday.
Thursday.
I'm sorry, email about
Or zoning.
Yep, So housing staff will be at city commission this Thursday to talk about.
And so Tricia, just for a point of clarification, the same presentation that was given to the, to your board last month is the same presentation that will be a part of the longer presentation that will be given to the city commission, where they talked about the annual updates for the various housing programs under CRA.
Thank you, thank you.
Any additional public comment? Anybody else from the public and nobody online, I assume? Any other board member comments?
I have an inquiry. And I don't know who to best direct this to. I'm initially thinking, Mr. Mayor. Kind of like, it doesn't have to be like an in-depth, detailed follow-up, but I'm just interested in the progress on the feasibility study for the 8th and Waldo project, where they are.
It started today.
It just started.
Yes, the contractor consultant was in town today and met with two of the commissioners in the morning and three in the afternoon.
Mhm.
That's where they're at.
So when you say started, what are they talking about? They've settled on this particular consultant.
We hired a consultant, well, the RCA hired a consultant. They finally agreed to the contract and everything, issued a notice to proceed. We had their initial meeting with staff was last week, just to meet us all. And then today they started meeting with the commissioners to find out what their objectives are. There's a scope of services they have to do. They have to hold so many public meetings, get so much public involvement.
Who is the consultant?
C.H. Johnson.
They're out of north, right?
They've got offices all over. When I was on the meeting, I think there was someone in South Florida that was part of the meeting, but they have offices outside of just the state of Florida. They do national projects around the country. They've done a lot in Florida, including a number of different facilities in Florida. But they do have experience for doing the work.
Okay, I guess that answers my question. I was thinking maybe they'd started already, because they say it takes a considerable amount of time to do a feasibility study. So.
The cultural arts centers study's been going on for about 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. They're putting in they're getting all of their information, asking city staff for maps and all the information on the site.
Has there been any future consideration of the corner lot that was looked at, the old gas station site? Or is that completely kind of gone?
I won't say it's completely kind of gone. There were issues with the city tried to get a right of first refusal. And there was some issues there that led to that not happening. So it's not to be excluded in the future. I know there's been conversations with them. There's been conversations with moving the fire station, the fire training center, and they've even had this consultant is not yet because they're just starting, but my understanding is there's even been conversations with the VFW about relocating their facility.
So that's gonna be exciting when that comes. Mhm.
There's still no motion on the ACE cash placing, cash loans place.
Yeah, we
Still no
We're gonna
movement.
do movement on that at this time.
Okay.
I think they're waiting it out for more money.
Well, they're already asking for payment. I forgot that when Eric was last year, he was saying that what the city wanted to do, wanted to offer and what they wanted in terms of their appraisals. There's a few tens of thousands.
We watched the commission meeting yesterday for a similar reason. He is no longer pursuing the Felix building.
Not soon.
Building. We want to buy the Valence building and move GFR administration into it. But now we're going to build a new building on property we already own. It'll actually be cheaper.
Any additional member comment? Hearing none. Next meeting date.
May 16. Stay right here.
And with that, we are adjourned.